Smriti is such a deserving winner of the BBC Indian Sportswoman of the Year award by sheer grit, by sheer hard work and by sheer results. The most wonderful thing about the BBC Indian Sportswoman of the Year awards is that it's encouraging women athletes. When you look at our champions, when you look at our achievers, Smriti is such a deserving winner of the BBC Indian Sportswoman of the Year award by sheer grit, by sheer hard work and by sheer results. It's the first time that the Indian women have won the World Cup, and as much as she missed it here today, it just shows her dedication, where she's in Australia right now taking on the great Australian cricket team. For me, there was no doubt in the jury's mind that Smriti was a hands-down winner.
And my question, earlier there used to be a lot of male talent that country used to idolize you, Pullela Gopinchand, Prakash Padukone, Dhoni, Virat, Sachin and everyone. Do you think that that with the time the talent pool gap between men and women is it's shrinking, it's getting better for women?
The most wonderful thing about the BBC Indian Sportswoman of the Year awards is that it's encouraging women athletes. When you look at our champions, when you look at our achievers, every single one of our Indian women stands right there in the forefront, leading by example. Whether it's the cricket team, whether it's the shooters, whether it's the badminton players, whether it's the tennis players in the past, whether it is the hockey players, and the list just goes on and on. When you look at our para-athletes also at the same time, the Indian women are just shining so bright. I am so pleased to see that Indian women leading from the forefront in women's sport as well.
Just give your reaction on India's win against Netherlands in the Davis Cup. Seen as a bit of an upset. What do you make?
It was fantastic to see Suresh perform so beautifully, and also to see the Indian Davis Cup team come up with such a great upset win. I was part of the team when we beat Holland in Jaipur, and then to see them coming and doing it in Bangalore was just a real thrill. I think Suresh is a great ambassador for India. I think he's going to be a fantastic Davis Cup player because he played with heart. He played with a lot of heart, and to see him come out and win all three matches, equaling and bettering my feat that I had done many times in Davis Cup, to win all three matches. My heart goes out to him and his team, his family, and he's just a great kid to see coming up. So I'm very excited to watch Davis Cup all over again.
And so, just when we see all over the world, when we see players like Alcaraz and Sinner, where do you think in our men's singles, where do you think we are lacking big time?
I think that Indian sport is on the upswing. When you look at the Khelo India movement, when you look at the top schemes supporting the athletes at the Olympics and at the Asian Games and at the Commonwealth Games, I think that Indian sport is only going to get better and better. When you look at the Tokyo Olympics, that's a great example of how the top scheme and how Khelo India proved itself. We won 7 medals there, and as much as some people could point a finger and say that only 7 medals, that's the most we've done in any Olympics. So really, if you see that through sport we can empower a nation, through sport, my vision is to empower 250 million kids and give them food on the table, give them a roof over their head, teach them a craft, whether it's playing the sport or whether it's sports management or whether it's sports medicine or sports science or sports physiotherapy, whether it's sports architecture or sports infrastructure design. Through the curriculum of sport, we can educate an entire generation and create excellent Indian ecosystem for sport. For me, it's going to take about 10-15 years for us to get up there into the Olympics and get up there into the Commonwealth and Asian Games and really win 20, 30, 40 medals. But can we do it? 100%. We got to tap into rural talent. We got to make sure that it's accessible to every Indian child around the country. And that's an endeavor that I've put myself forward to do with the Flying Man Academy.
And last question from you. We recently heard that you want to open a tennis academy in Bengal, and you're the president of Bengal Tennis as well. And India has won like 30 odd Grand Slams, but all of them have been Daman. So what things are you and maybe the OGs of Indian tennis are going to do to bring the first singles Grand Slam title in India and maybe the ATP Masters 1000 level tournaments in India as well?
I spent the last 5 decades representing the country on the field, playing at the Grand Slams, playing in the ATP Tour, playing for the Tiranga every time I stepped out in Davis Cup and the Olympics. For many years, I stood in the back and supported the Davis Cup teams, nurtured young talent. But I feel that now if I want to be the change, then one's got to come out and really support the kids from the forefront. So my first endeavor in that is to take up the presidential position at Bengal Tennis. From there, it's about creating a better ecosystem for the young kids to nurture their talent, but also at the same time to bring the ex-athletes back into the game, to give them opportunities to have their academies, to give them opportunities to share their skills and their knowledge with the youngsters, and likewise with the All India Tennis Association to come in and support the grassroots level talent search as well as nurturing that talent. So for me, I'm starting with my sport, which is tennis, but my eyes are on the Olympic movement. My eyes are on bringing the Olympics to India, and at the same time to support the top scheme and the Khelo India movement through the sports fraternity, through the sports ministry. In that, I feel that sport can really unite a nation. Sport can bring an entire country together, and also I truly believe that sport can move the GDP of every country.